I didn't expect my life to split in one night. I thought if something ever broke me, it would be loud. A fight, a betrayal, someone screaming or leaving or exposing me in front of everyone. Instead, it happened quietly, and I didn't understand what that meant until years later. I'm sharing this now because I've followed confession pages like this for years, always telling myself my story wasn't dramatic enough, wasn't extreme enough, wasn't worth telling. But the truth is, the moments that stay with you the longest aren't always explosive. Sometimes they just sit there, waiting, until time circles back and forces you to look at them honestly. This happened in late 2019, just before the world shut down. At the time, I was in a relationship that looked solid on the surface. We went on proper dates. We had routines. We showed up together. If you asked anyone around us, they would have said I was doing fine, that I had my life together. But privately, I was living with a version of myself I didn't like admitting existed. I was restless, always half out, always keeping options open, always telling myself I deserved more excitement, more attention, more something, even though nothing was actually missing. I didn't think of myself as dishonest. I thought of myself as complicated. That's how I justified it. One night, after a normal date, I walked her home. Midnight, quiet street. I kissed her goodnight, smiled, told her I'd text when I got back, and watched her door close. Then I turned around and went somewhere else. I went to a club called Dragonfly. Loud music, crowded floor, the kind of place where you go to forget who you just were an hour earlier. I had plans to meet another woman there, someone I'd been seeing quietly on the side. To make it feel less obvious, she was bringing a friend to keep my best friend company too. In my head, that made it better, cleaner, almost organized. We arrived. The music hit, lights everywhere, that familiar rush. And then everything stopped. Because the friend she brought wasn't just a friend. It was my girlfriend. The same woman I had just kissed goodnight. The same woman who trusted me enough to believe I was going home. She walked in, looked straight at me, and for a second neither of us moved. No yelling, no confusion, just recognition. Then she turned around and walked out of the club without saying a single word. At the time, I told myself I got lucky. No scene, no drama, no confrontation. I stayed. I drank. I pretended I was fine. A few minutes later, my phone vibrated. It was a long message. The kind you can tell was written slowly, carefully. She ended the relationship. She explained how she felt. She explained how stupid she felt. She explained how betrayed she felt. And back then, I didn't read it with guilt. I read it defensively. I focused on the parts where she sounded hurt and told myself she was playing the victim. I convinced myself she was exaggerating. I told myself it was messy, but not unforgivable. I never replied properly. Life moved on, or at least I told myself it did. The relationship ended. The world shut down. Everyone disappeared into their own routines and screens. And like most people, I rewrote my own history in my head until I was comfortable with it. I told myself it was just bad timing. I told myself I wasn't malicious. I told myself everyone makes mistakes. That story worked for a while. Then in mid-2021, I got invited to a private party through people I knew online. The kind of thing that exists quietly, where people pretend consequences don't travel with them. I hesitated. Something about it felt off. But curiosity won. I went. I walked in, scanned the room, and my chest tightened. She was there. Not surprised. Not shocked. Not emotional. Just there. Years had passed. Different setting. Different energy. And this time, she didn't leave. She didn't react. She didn't even acknowledge me. She moved through the room like I was a stranger. And something about that broke me in a way I didn't expect. Because suddenly, I wasn't the guy who had options. I wasn't the guy who got away with something. I wasn't even the villain of her story anymore. I was irrelevant. There was no argument to win. No apology to demand. No explanation needed. Just silence. And in that silence, I understood something that took me years to accept. The worst consequence of what I did wasn't losing her that night. It was realizing that whatever I thought I meant to her disappeared the moment she walked out of that club. I left the party immediately, not out of fear, not out of embarrassment, but because for the first time, I saw myself clearly, not as a guy who made a mistake, but as someone who treated people like temporary experiences. Someone who assumed forgiveness would always be available if he ever wanted it. I didn't reach out to her after that, not because I didn't want closure, but because I finally understood that closure is often just another form of selfishness. A way to ease your own discomfort instead of respecting the fact that someone already moved on without you. That's the part no one warns you about when you're younger. That sometimes the damage you cause doesn't come back as anger. Sometimes it comes back as indifference. And indifference hurts more because it means the story ended without you. Here's the truth I avoided for years. That night in the club didn't ruin my life. It revealed something. It showed me who I was before I learned how to be honest, before I learned how silence can be louder than confrontation, before I learned that the world is much smaller than you think, and time has a way of circling back when you least expect it. If you're listening to this and you recognize yourself in any part of it, understand this clearly. You don't always get a second moment to explain yourself. You don't always get closure. And the people you hurt don't always carry you with them forever. Sometimes they just leave quietly. And years later, when you finally understand what you lost, the only thing left to do is walk away without pretending anymore. That was the last time I ever ran from myself. And that's the part of the story I never told anyone. Until now.